Hello and welcome to this episode of Cities Skylines. I'm davidinark. Thanks for coming along. Now this video is done completely in time-lapse because the audio got messed up and then the project got messed up. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thank you so much for coming in and checking out our brand new city. Speaking of, it's got, I don't know, whatever name it is, Springer Highway or Springs Highway or whatever that is, but we need a new name for this city for sure. So after you watch the video and you see what the layout's starting to look like and you get an idea of where I think I'm going with this, leave a comment in the comment section down below and suggest a new name for the city, and I'll take a look at all of the ones that get submitted, and then we'll I don't know, we'll either vote or we'll pick something. I don't know, we'll see what happens. Anyhow, I thought I would jump in and start a new city, and so this time what I did was immediately after the exit ramp here, I put in a roundabout and got that thing going, and I'm pretty excited about it. I really wish that, in real life, at least in my experience, when you come off of the highway, most of the time the exit comes up and you end up on either a 2 or a 4 lane road. I mean, it's not like another major highway, and I haven't been playing the game very long, obviously, but I haven't figured out a way. How do you do that? How do you come off of the exit and make the 2 separate lanes merge into a coherent pattern? I don't know. What I'm doing now anyway, though, is I decided to angle out the 2 main roads and then have those have their kind of own little like triangle area or area in this triangle. And then I'm going to expand that to the left as you're watching this, and fill that in with a more grid-like pattern. One of the things that when I first started out, I love this divided highway with the tree-lined roads, in the middle, or the tree-lined area in the middle. I think that's very, very cool. And so I decided to stick with that tree line layout for kind of the main area of the map. Here I am working on putting in the water. So that's the water supply, and then sewage. You always want sewage downstream from your water system itself. So then I just go in here and go around, and I am planting the water system here for the area that I've already laid out for the city. And then the next thing is to decide where to put power. And I originally was going to put power, somewhere down here near the entrance/exit. And then I thought, power's kind of dirty, nasty. How about if I build a road between that main off ramp and down here to the water plant, but then also that's where I can put that electric plant. And so our electricity will be served from this road here. And then I decided to, first of all, give power out to the water facilities, and then use the high tension power lines, or whatever they're called, to kind of just go around the outside of my current city layout. The problem is this doesn't really necessarily work very well. I don't quite understand power in the game yet, so I'm still working through that. Definitely appreciate any hints, suggestions, all that kind of good stuff in terms of figuring out how power lines work and how you get power to different places and that kind of stuff. In the meantime, I decided that, first of all, I was going to start zoning, or I did start zoning, and then realized that I need garbage pickup. So I put the garbage facilities as far to the left side of the map as I could, and then went in here and started adding things like the hospital, trying to figure out where we needed hospital services. I'm playing around at this point kind of with cemetery layout and decide, I'm not going to worry about the cemetery yet. And then that gets me distracted, trying to figure out where I want to put additional roads. And I realized that one of the things that I needed here was a police station. So I go back to setting up my police force, which I decided to put near the hospital and then from there, of course, getting electricity. And again, I thought just running the power lines behind the back here would get those connected, but obviously it doesn't. So I play around with this for a good little while. At the meantime, I also need to make sure that I have water running everywhere. So we take these power lines out, and instead I run power just to the area where the police station is, and I'm trying to figure out again how these power lines work and where to put power, and I don't know. So I eventually give up on that and decide to put in an elementary school and a high school so that we can get some education going here, and then I throw in a public library. Probably a bit much for a town of about 400 people, but I don't know. I'm working out my city layout, or working out my plan, trying to figure out kind of what services that I want to offer, and make sure that we have those in place as the city grows. I also am trying to figure out all this stuff, and I'm using the mod that allows you to have the unlimited funds. And then there's a couple of other things. It comes with the game, so I don't know if it's considered cheating or not, but hey, why not? Put those to use, because I'm much more of a sandbox kind of person. I like to play around in the city. I like to work in the city. Work on a layout in a game like this where I'm the one in control. I get to do what I want to do, and I don't have to worry about, do I have the right money? Am I making people happy? Am I not making, the people unhappy? I mean, I do have to worry about that, to a degree, obviously, because I want my city to grow, but by the same token, I want the freedom to do what I want to do. And so here I'm putting in industrial zones, trying to figure that out. Also playing around with roads, trying to figure out how am I going to get the trucks to the industrial zone without, creating havoc right there at the exit. And frankly, this does not work well. I mean, it's fine for now, but I need a much better solution. I think ultimately, if I'm able to purchase that plot of land to the right where the dashed line is, kind of on the other side of that, then I can put in exit ramps that will let the trucks go more directly to that industrial zone, rather than kind of taking them through Main Street into my city. So that's, definitely need to fix that. Speaking of fixing things, I did not realize that when I laid down that tree-lined street there just under the road I just put in, that it's one way out of the city. I don't know why I picked that one, but while I was voicing this over and editing the video, I realized that was going the wrong direction, and so I actually jumped into my game, got that fixed, and got that taken care of. So the next video, that'll be all squared away. In the meantime, I'm putting in some high-density residential. I'm putting in some high-density commercial. One of the things that I like, and then also low-density, kind of dispersed, or that's not the word I want. But anyway, it's spread throughout all of that kind of area. And then I'm starting to get into where I want some city parks. I don't know. I love the idea of all the things this game comes with. So just playing around with different ideas, just seeing what kind of different things there are. I mean, there's like a crazy little castle bouncy house thing. The carousel, I really, really wanted that carousel in the middle of the roundabout, and I couldn't find a way to make it work. So instead I put it over across the street from the elementary school. I figured, hey, why not? And then at the same time decided to add in a couple of little other park elements across from the elementary and high school. Once I kind of got that laid out, then I realized that there is a basketball court, and what better place to put a basketball court than next to the high school, except I couldn't remember for the life of me which building was the high school. So once I got that figured out, ta-da, I knew where to put the basketball court. So put in a basketball court to kind of go with that. And then again, I'm still learning the game, so I'm playing around with some of the stuff that's in here. I don't quite again, I just don't quite understand how some of this stuff works and why it works the way it does. So anyway, I decided to go back to doing some zoning. When I'm playing with a city simulator, like, you know, Sim City or any kind of city simulator program, I like to lay things out kind of the way I grew up. I say grew up. My grandparents, who lived in Ohio, their streets were laid out where you had like a strip of residential residential houses, and then on the corners were the in this game what would be considered the kind of the low end, low density commercial area. So like when I was growing up, on the corner there was like the barber shop, there was this little convenience store, which really wasn't a convenience store, it was more like a little 5 and dime kind of thing. There was a gas station on another corner, you know, so you had the businesses on the corners and then housing along those roads, you know, themselves. So I don't know, I kind of like to lay things out that way. One of the other things that I have figured out in the game is that this road area here is roughly 4 blocks long, or wide rather, and so I was putting in the strips of road in such a way that I'm getting the most coverage that I can get, or at least trying to anyway. And again, laying out some zone areas, that type of thing, and seeing, you know, who's where, who's doing what, putting in, again, the low density commercial area, residential. I like the idea of having more residential around the schools, around the library. I'm not quite sure what I was looking at there, so I don't know what's happening. But I'm looking at traffic. There's a little bit of traffic there as people come in and off. But again, I have 1,000 people, so there's not really going to be much traffic at this point anyway. Checking out some of the issues that my city is already having. So things like workforce needs to be enhanced. I take a look here at the carousel and I see that a whole whopping 2 people have used it since I put it in. I don't know, is that normal for a population of about 1,100 people? Heck if I know, but anyway, just going in and playing around with laying out the design and figuring out where I want to put things, where do I want things to live. I grew up watching Bob Ross with my grandfather, and that was one of the things that always stuck out that he said is you know, he always wanted to put in, you know, where these trees lived, where this mountain lived, everything lived. That's kind of the approach I'm taking to this. You know, where do I want things to live? Ironically, speaking of where I want things to live, I'm trying to figure out where to put a cemetery. And so ultimately, I decide that I want to put the cemetery kind of in the middle of town, but not against one of the kind of main roads. So I just grab a dirt road, put it across here, go back to the cemetery, and then we just kind of put it sort of in the middle of there. And that way it's in town, but not in town. I don't know. But as you can see here, I jumped the gun on some of the, especially some of the high density commercial area stuff. So I have definitely going through abandoned building issues. Again, I got 1,200 people. So I currently in real life live in a town with, you know, just under 4,000 people, and we don't have a lot of the stuff that I'm putting in this goofy little town of 1,200. So there's some things I will probably end up going back and trying to fix. Once again, trying to figure out the whole power situation. I realized that I had not run water throughout the rest of the town. Now, a really funky thing happens here as I'm crisscrossing all of my water lines, trying to make sure I have coverage. I still managed to miss the middle of the cemetery. So I threw in a little water line going down the dirt road, you know, just all kinds of crazy stuff. I checked the workforce and they want some more educated workforce. So yes, in my population, 1,400 people, we're going to chunk down a university. I don't know. Maybe I should have left the money restrictions on. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. So again, you got a name for the town. Definitely want to leave that down in the comment section below. I appreciate that. Got any other questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories? Feel free to leave those down in the comment section as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time on City Skylines.